The strangest borders in the world. Borders, those seemingly simple lines on a map separating countries, may not always be as straightforward as they look. While most borders aim to clearly mark where one country ends and another begins, some are downright strange, puzzling, or historically fascinating. These unconventional borders often come with stories of history, politics, and culture that captivate travelers and history enthusiasts alike. In this journey, we'll explore some of the world's most unusual borders, each with its own unique charm. From the crisscrossing enclaves of Baarle-Nassau in Europe to Kaliningrad's isolated existence, every stop on this tour sheds light on how our world and the lines that divide it came to be. Borders play a critical role in defining nations geographically, politically, and culturally. They regulate movement of people and goods, dictate tax zones, and even establish national identities. But what happens when history, geography, and diplomacy collide in unusual ways? You get places that challenge everything you thought you knew about borders. These odd, twisted, or fragmented boundaries often tell complex stories of treaties, wars, or geographical quirks. For a curious traveler or history lover, they're an invitation to look beyond maps and learn about the unique forces that shape our world. Imagine walking down the street and crossing between two countries multiple times without leaving the town. Welcome to Baarle-Nassau, Netherlands, and Baarle-Hertog, Belgium, one of the most bizarre border arrangements in the world. Here, the border zigzags and crisscrosses, dividing homes, businesses, and streets between two nations. Some properties even lie in both countries simultaneously, where the location of the front door officially determines which nation you belong to. This intricate patchwork of enclaves includes 22 Belgian enclaves within Dutch territory, along with several Dutch enclaves inside the Belgian enclaves. The result? A geographical puzzle like no other. The story of Baarle's complex borders dates back to medieval treaties between local lords. Over time, land exchanges and agreements left behind these fragmented territories, creating the peculiar borderlines we see today. Despite this complexity, the residents have adapted seamlessly. Borderlines marked with plaques on sidewalks and even on restaurant dining areas have become charming quirks rather than hindrances. This small town has become a symbol of peaceful coexistence. Visitors can walk through a cafe, step over the border, and have lunch in a different country, all within a few minutes. Another striking example of strange borders comes from Kaliningrad, a Russian exclave tucked between Poland and Lithuania. Unlike Baarle, which thrives as a symbol of unity, Kaliningrad tells a tale of division. Cut off from mainland Russia, it's a fragment of the nation marooned in the middle of Europe. The story of how Kaliningrad became an exclave is both fascinating and significant. Kaliningrad was once the Prussian city of Königsberg, an important part of German territory. However, following World War II, the Potsdam Conference granted the area to the Soviet Union. When the USSR dissolved, Kaliningrad remained part of Russia, much like an island adrift. Despite its isolation, Kaliningrad has geopolitical importance. As a naval base for the Russian Baltic Fleet, it plays a critical role in military strategy. However, its separateness poses challenges for both trade and transportation. Goods must either pass through Lithuania and Poland or traverse the Baltic Sea, a logistical complexity that shapes Kaliningrad's modern identity. Visiting Kaliningrad provides a window into the hidden layers of European history. It is a city that feels both Russian and European, representing the cultural and political forces that have shaped its existence. If you've ever wanted to travel through time, the Diomede Islands might pique your curiosity. Located in the Bering Strait, the Diomede Islands sit between Alaska, US, and Siberia, Russia. The water between them marks not just the border between nations, but also the international date line. This means one island exists in yesterday, while the other is firmly planted in today. The smaller of the two, Big Diomede, is controlled by Russia and largely uninhabited, serving primarily as a military site. Little Diomede belongs to the US and is home to a small Inuit population. Only 2.4 miles separate the two islands, making them the closest point between Russia and the United States. Despite their proximity, they couldn't feel further apart. During the Cold War, the Diomede Islands symbolized the tense divides between the two superpowers. This small stretch of icy water became known as the Ice Curtain. Today, while the hostility has softened, the symbolic and geographical separation remains. A visit to the Diomedes offers a rare opportunity to witness a place where time and geopolitics collide, giving travelers a profound sense of how borders can transcend physical space. In southern Africa, there's a four-way connection point where Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, and Zimbabwe supposedly meet, a geographical rarity. This location, dubbed the African Quadrupoint, is often debated, as no definitive marker confirms whether all four countries actually touch at a precise spot. While exploring this region, travelers are struck by the fluidity of such borders. Rivers and landscapes shift over time, making the exact demarcation difficult to pinpoint. Regardless, this confluence of nations underscores the challenges of drawing lines on a dynamic Earth. Unusual borders like Baarle-Nassau, Kaliningrad, and the Diomede Islands don't just tell interesting stories, they also impact politics, culture, and daily life. For example, in Baarle-Nassau, residents embrace their multinational identity. Meanwhile, in Kaliningrad, geographical isolation informs a distinct local culture that blends Russian influence with European geography. Borders like these are also a testament to human resilience. Despite their peculiarities, communities find ways to coexist and thrive. In many cases, they even turn these quirks into sources of pride, celebrating the intriguing histories behind their fragmented territories. For travelers with a thirst for history and adventure, these strange borders provide endless inspiration. Baarle-Nassau delights visitors with its charm, where you can straddle two countries over a meal. Kaliningrad offers a rich tapestry of history, perfect for those curious about the remnants of World War II and the Cold War. And the Diomedes? They spark awe just by existing as a boundary between time zones. Even the African Quadrupoint invites exploration, challenging travelers to see the Earth as an interconnected web rather than a neatly divided grid. These peculiar borders remind us of the complexities behind the maps we so often take for granted. They tell stories of treaties, disputes, and the sheer randomness of history. At the same time, they highlight a unifying theme: people's ability to adapt, embrace their differences, and make the best of the lines drawn in the sand. As significant as borders are in shaping the modern world, they're also reminders of our shared humanity. Strange as they may be, they show that divisions can be bridges just as much as they are boundaries. Whether you're strolling through Baarle, contemplating Kaliningrad's odd history, or visiting the Diomede Islands where time and space collide, there's something magical about borders. They are windows into stories of power, conflict, unity, and resilience. So, the next time you look at a map, remember, behind every border lies a tale worth exploring. These unusual boundaries don't just separate nations. They connect history lovers and curious travelers to the incredible stories of our shared world. The world is full of wonders, both natural and political, and sometimes the quirkiest of them can inspire us to see our planet a little differently. Where will your exploration take you next?